I'm Cliff, and this is my garage. And I just got back from my second HPDE at historic Sebring International Raceway, and it was great. Hey, welcome back to the garage. And if this is your first time joining me, thanks for dropping by. Now, as my regular viewers know, and she knows who she is, I got bit by the HPDE bug really bad a few months ago. And just a pro tip, the cool kids call it just DE. And so I'm going to call it just DE because I'm one of the cool kids now. Anyhow, I had my first DE event at the Florida International Rally and Motorsports Park back in April. And while it was certainly fun and I had a good time, unfortunately, since it was done as a lead follow format, I just felt like I didn't learn very much. So I was really looking forward to my second DE, which was going to be with an actual in-car instructor at Sebring International Raceway down in Sebring, Florida. I was also looking forward to driving at Sebring because I had sort of a personal connection with Sebring through my father-in-law, who was a great guy. And he passed away back in 1999, but he always told stories about how he had made friends with some of the race crews when he was working for the railroad in Sebring back in the 1950s. And he actually got the opportunity to do some driving in the cars on the track. It was one of his fondest memories, and he talked about it kind of quite a bit, and it just seemed really cool. So I was hoping to just kind of have that additional connection with him because, like I said, he was a great guy, and we all miss him tremendously. So we loaded up the car on the trailer and headed off to Sebring on Friday morning. And I'm glad we left early because we had to drive through a lot of really torrential downpours on the way, which, let me tell you, towing a car, my very precious pride and joy car, on a trailer through a rainstorm where I can barely see was not a fun experience. We got down to Sebring around, let's say, I think about 5:30 or so, and we got through the early check-in process, got the car unloaded. I had gotten one of the pit stalls, and I'm glad I did. That really made the weekend a lot more pleasant, being able to have your own covered area to put the car in. Saturday morning dawned nice and sunny, which I was glad to see because the forecast had been for about a 50% chance of rain on both days. I was so excited, I think I may have gotten to the track a little bit earlier than most people. But it wasn't too long before the pits were just bustling with people, all getting their cars ready. The novices all took their cars and parked them out on the hot pit. And then we all got together for our driver's meeting where we talked about things like point buys and passing zones and the meeting of the flags. And then it was off to do something called orientation laps, which I really liked, where we just got in the car, me and the instructor, and we'd all go slowly around the track, well, relatively slowly, and no helmets on, and just kind of discuss the track, pointing out things like flag stations, turn-in points, and talk about the general line that you're going to follow when you're driving the track for real. I found it super valuable. After the 1-hour novice class, it was time to hit the track for the first session. Let me just say right up front, I had a great instructor, Pedro, who coincidentally owns a business called Pedro's Garage. Be sure to check him out at pedrosgarage.com, link in the description below. As you can see here, Pedro is actually driving at the moment. This is an option they gave all the novices, having the instructor drive the first 2 laps as a demonstration and then let the student take over. I'm not sure that any of the other novices took advantage of this, which I think was a mistake. I thought it was really valuable to be able to sit back and just observe how the track looked and how the car moved and felt when driven properly. This first lap, as with the first lap in all sessions with all groups, was done under a yellow caution flag. In other words, a bit slow and no passing allowed. This helps you to settle in and also, very importantly, lets your tires warm up. Cold tires have significantly less traction. Now, this would have helped tremendously in my first DE if they had done this, where I had a couple of scary moments because I didn't have good traction with cold tires on that first lap.
out. And then once you make the turn, you get ready to brake. And here we go to 3, 2, 1 braking. So you'll see where you're comfortable hitting the brakes. And then again, now here, you make the turn, you keep turning, you're accelerating all the time. This is full wide open, and then the car's coming out very smoothly all the way out. Come in and switch seats, and you can have the rest of the section. Again, there's your turning point, line, coming in, you look at the zero, that's apex. These cars will go out, you can stay right here and shoot for that.
So after Pedro did his couple of laps, we pulled into the hot pits, swapped seats, and now it was my turn.
Now we're doing hot laps, so these cars are going to be fast because they're already warmed up. Left, 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 left. Get the feel of the car first before you try to be, don't try to follow them. Just, that was a little too late. You can feel how cars pushing on you. Gas, gas, gas. There you go. Turn, 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 turn. That was a little wide. Right through here. Tighter. Always closer to the apex. Second tree. Well, that was good. Perfect. Brake. And now here's gas, turn, gas, turn. There you go. There you go.
I really just can't overemphasize how much better it was having a real person in the seat right next to you giving you feedback on your driving performance versus the lead follow format that they used at my previous track day. This is like night and day, having that constant feedback immediately as you're driving, both positive and negative. Negative like, okay, you were a little wide on that one, or you were too early on your turn in, as well as the positive feedback like, okay, that was right, that was good. And it just is so much nicer than lead follow. I just will never ever do another track day where I have to do a lead follow format. It's just almost useless compared to the in-person.
Tight to the wall. And then wait. And turn now. And then you're going to shoot for that patch of grass. Right there. You're on the gas. Right, yeah, we got the car in here. And then all the way out. There you go.
And so it continued through the day, with my lap time slowly improving as it became smoother and more consistent, as well as more familiar with the track. Pedro's feedback became less about things like turn-in points and more about the small, subtle things specific to Sebring that he's picked up during his many years of driving this amazing, historic track. Pedro was only around for one day, so on day 2 I picked up a new instructor, Al, and it was really interesting the way that Al showed me very different ways to go through the exact same corners, especially turns, turn 1, turn 10 and 11, and turn 17. I didn't get much video of the morning sessions because, surprise, surprise, the GoPros kept failing to record. But in the afternoon, I did get some video, and I also had a completely different experience, which was driving in the rain. which was really great because Al gave me a lot of small tips for how to drive in the rain, things to look out for, how to adapt, and it was just a really great experience, although I have to say, not one that I'm eager to repeat. The best moment of the weekend, however, came at the end of the last session when Al suddenly had me stop at the Black Flag station. I didn't know what was going on.
Hey, Amy? Do you have a blue band for him?
A blue band?
Yeah, I want to promote him from green to blue.
They're all put away?
They're all put away?
Right.
Okay. Have her tell him that next time out, he's blue.
Okay, yeah, just...
So I got promoted from novice to advanced student. That was pretty cool. So that was my weekend at Sebring. I want to note that the SunCoast Region PCA did a great job running things. They do like 10 of these a year, and that experience really shows in how organized and smoothly run everything is. Sebring itself was a really fun track to drive. It's a very long track at 3.7 miles, and the wide variety of surfaces made for a challenging drive. I was surprised at how organic and natural the track felt. It was much more like a country road than a racetrack. This is in stark contrast to the Firm, which feels very artificial with all those straights and single radius curves. I'm really glad I did the Firm first. It really made me appreciate how good Sebring is. Also, I found I really enjoyed the 2-day format over a single day. Being able to process the learning of the first day and attack the track again with a fresh mind the very next day was really nice. I don't know that I'll ever do another single day event. Overall, I'd say my second HPDE was a big success. I had fun on a great track and actually learned quite a bit about high performance driving this time. I came in with a goal of getting a 2-minute 45-second lap, which I think I would have gotten if it hadn't started raining. My best lap, which came on the second day just before it started raining, was 2 minutes 48.6 seconds. Now, before you go smash that like button and let YouTube know that you enjoyed this video. It really helps me grow the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go click on that big red subscribe button. Again, that really helps me with growing the channel and letting me make even more and better content, and it doesn't cost you a thing. And finally, if you want to keep up with all my track day adventures and my eventual newbie track guides, click on that bell icon. That turns on notifications for this channel, and that way YouTube will let you know every time that I post something new from here in Cliff's Garage. I'll see you next time.